Pleasance, and here's another pleasant video on Russian imperialism with satellite countries and the Russian backwardness. Russian backwardness became apparent in the late 19th century. This is because under a feudal-based system, most of the populace were slaves, commonly referred to as serfs. Under this feudal system, where 90% of the population lived in the countryside, Russia was unable to modernize at the same rate as the rest of the world. It had fallen behind the most powerful countries in the world and was no longer a superpower. After the elite of the country realized its downfall and after its defeat in Crimea, there were many but limited reforms to attempt to educate and employ recently freed serfs. After these reforms were made, Russia underwent constant revolutions until the beginning of World War I. Before the beginning of World War II, Stalin exercised his authoritarian power and began to force Russia to modernize, and though he was moderately successful at this, he was only able to do this through purges and waves of torture, show trials, and executions that were seen by many Soviet citizens. After World War II, when Russia maintained control of its satellite states, Stalin imposed his authoritarianism on the satellite countries. Stalin died in 1953, and Khrushchev obtained power. The world superpowers, along with the Russian people, were happy that Khrushchev came to power after the death of Stalin, as it became obvious that Khrushchev wanted a much more democratic government. Though he was more democratic, he is blamed for the start of the Cold War and was removed from office in 1964, being replaced with a collective leadership. This style of government lasted until Gorbachev obtained power as General Secretary of the Soviet Union in 1985.